Hello everyone, I'm Yefan Chen from Huawei Global Training Center. Welcome to join our open source technology MOOC. Let's get started from the history of Linux first. Before discussing Linux itself in depth, let's first go over the history of operating systems in general to see how Linux came into being. As shown on this slide, Linux was released after Unix. On January 1, 1970, the world's first Unix system was developed at Bell Labs by two engineers, Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson. 20 years later, on October 5, 1991, Linus Torvalds, a 21-year-old student, announced the creation of Linux. From that point onwards, the Linux system developed rapidly thanks to the development of Unix, Minix, GNU, and POSIX standards, and the birth of the Internet. Today, Linux is used widely and held in high regard by many. Let's take a look at the official definition of Linux. Linux is a Unix-like computer operating system assembled under the model of free and open-source software development and distribution. It complies with GNU and POSIX standards. Now let's acquaint ourselves briefly with some of the more prominent figures in the world of Linux. As previously mentioned, the Unix system came into being at Bell Labs. Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie, the fathers of Unix and the C programming language, had joined a project to develop the Multics operating system, aiming to build a multi-user, multitask, and multi-layer operating system. Back in 1970, the PDP-7 computer, which they were using, only supported 2 users at the same time. There was a joke about the Multics system, saying that the Multics system was actually a Unix system because the pronunciation is similar with Unix. And as such, 1970 marked the founding year of Unix. In 1973, the development language changed from assembly language to C. In 1974, Unix began interacting with the outside world, and the Unix source code was released, also only for teaching purposes. This sparked great interest from the academic community and put Unix into wide use. After Unix v6 was released, Bell Labs realized its commercial value, and after Unix v7 was released in 1979, forbid the use of Unix for teaching. After 1980, more Unix products appeared, including IBM AIX, HP UX, and the Sun Oracle Solaris, and Unix began the gradual process of commercialization. In 1987, Andrew S. Tannenbaum, an American computer scientist and university professor, developed a mini-Unix, Minix, based on Unix v6 and used Minix for teaching. Richard Stallman is the founder of GNU Project and FSF and creator of GPL. He is of the belief that software should be readily available and free of charge, and has developed various pieces of well-known open-source software. Linus Torvalds, a graduate student of Tannenbaum and influenced by Stallman, enjoyed the operation system course so much that he decided to develop a readily available and free of charge operation system. He posted an article on the forum comp.os.minix, attracting widespread enthusiasm. In October 1991, Linux was created. This was followed by the introduction of Debian and SUSE in 1993 and that of Red Hat Linux in 1994. In 1996, a penguin was chosen as the logo of Linux. On October 20, 2004, Mark Shuttleworth released Ubuntu 4.10 based on the Debian system. Ubuntu is a South American term that means humanity. It also means I am what I am because of who we all are. Mark's commitment has seen Ubuntu become a widely used OS. Mark's entry into the open source industry brought substantial changes to Linux GUIs. On October 5, 1991, Linus Torvalds announced the creation of Linux Minix, also known as Linux or GNU Linux. On March 14, 1994, Linux kernel v1.0 was released. On August 10, 1999, Red Flag Linux was born. In July 2004, Azure Linux 1.0 jointly developed by Red Flag and the Japanese and Korean vendors was released. On June 21, 2011, Linus Torvalds released Linux 3.0. Like Unix, Linux opened its source code to the public. Therefore, Linux distributions have appeared one after another, including commercial and open source distributions. Commercial distributions include Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux, Red Hat Linux New Kylin Linux, and Real-Time Linux. Open source distributions include Debian, CentOS, Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Azure Linux, and StartOS. Now that we have covered the origins and the distributions of Linux, let's take a closer look at its advantages and why Linux has become as popular as it has. As said, Linux opened its source code to the public so that it could be improved or customized. In addition to this, it's also completely free of charge. Linux is a multitask, multi-user OS. And also, Linux uses an advanced memory management mechanism, ensuring efficient GIMM use. Linux delivers 99.999% stability, security, and efficiency. Linux is independent of devices and features excellent portability. Up to now, we have finished learning the origins of Linux, the history of its development, and its distributions and advantages. That's all for this part. Thanks for your attending.